Just I've always been real private. I've never really put my business out there in the streets like that. And it's fine. I've been vocal, and I'm vocal about things. I'm just not vocal about myself too much, and that's fine. I kind of like it that way. You know, you gotta. There's not many ways you can preserve your energy nowadays, so that's one of those things that it's just like if I can just take that off the plate, then that's.
Yeah, I've always found it to be an interesting dichotomy, I guess, when someone is specifically a musician, because for a visual artist, it's a lot easier to just hide behind like what we're doing silently, right, and not have to talk.
Yeah, the anonymity of it is kind of a part of the mystery,
and it's, at least I think it's a little comforting. But I guess what I'm saying is like the dichotomy between, because like your style of music is very vocal, and it's not hiding anything,
right?
Essentially, so like, is that just your outlet?
That's the outlet, yeah, for sure.
And you somehow are able to just let it stay there.
Yeah, and it just kind of. Yeah, I mean certain things, the feelings and like the real private stuff. See with Mo's very brave for being able to put a lot of his emotions into, you know, absolute, like eloquently, you know, putting a lot of his personal issues, and because that's, you know, that's what he does. That's the way he writes, and it's beautiful. But yeah, I mean, it's kind of when I go on stage, it's kind of like a little like switch for me that just kind of like I can turn it on, and I know that's the time when I can just let it out, let all the frustrations, life, you know, things. Same as painting, you know, and it's just putting things on the canvas and just, you know, sometimes you got to know when to walk away, right? Or otherwise it's too much.
Oh, sure.
You know, so
sure.
Yeah, so I tried that balance. And this is all very, very new. When I was younger, I was crazy, but now in my life, yeah, now is just I can find these places to kind of like tuck things away and just kind of keep them compartmentalized, and the stage is the stage, and music is music, and because we talk about a lot of heavy things, man, and it was hard to become that band, you know. I mean, we didn't. Still Gold never set out to be like the political band or the, you know, band of the people. I mean, we're all glad that it happened that way, and
I think that is how people see it. Yeah.
You know, and
100%.
But that was hard. That was hard for all of us. It was really hard for Mo. It was really hard. I mean, there was a lot of conversation that had to be had during that time. A lot of emotions, a lot of, you know, and it's hard. Music it brings things up. It brings things out of people, you know, and it kind of just, it's one of those things that being able to put these emotions and all these feelings out there, and it's a lot. It's tolling on you know, it takes a toll on your mental, you know. I'd be at home talking to my wife about things, and it's just like, it's just, and she's always like, you know, yeah, but you gotta preserve you too, you know. It's hard to get lost in these things, and yeah, and it's hard to get out of it, and it changes like the way you see the world, and you know, and it's
yeah.
You know,
it's
what
a lot.
I mean?
Well,
like,
I think what you're describing is a lot of that is just the artist experience when you're actually putting yourself out there, and when you're putting such an honest side of yourself out there. Because I feel like for some of the things that you guys are communicating as a band, it's not easy for a lot of artists to be that honest. Especially, I mean, Mo is very honest, and some of the things he's writing, I mean, it's like scary honest. Well, to the point, I mean, I relate to so much of it, but to the point, and I'd love to have Mo on one day too, but to the point, like, I feel like I know and understand a lot of his story. But I feel like for you to bring, and there's no way I know all of it, I totally understand that, but I have an understanding of where some of the pain would come from that's manifested into, you know, who he is and the kind of artist that he is.
Sure, yeah.
I feel like it's a little bit more mysterious. Like we don't have that. Like there's definitely, but I feel like for you to do what you do, you got to be really like getting some shit out with that.
Yeah.
Like, so for those who don't know, Chris Sheehan here is better known as Christopher Talken, who is a member of STL GLD, the award-winning STL GLD. How many Boston Music Awards have you guys won?
Like, not even to be like, I can't even count, but like it's been there's a lot.
It's like 8, 9, 10 now, right?
We're in double digits for sure.
Yeah. They are an incredible collective from Boston, Massachusetts, who are really, really hard to put in any kind of musical category, really. But if you like hip-hop music, if you like music in general, please check them out if you haven't. And your role in the band, I feel like, also really interests me, because I feel like for creatives in general, anybody who is willing to put themselves out there, a lot of times, like, everyone wants to be the leading man, right? And so, at least at some point, at least at some stage. So I feel like to decidedly not be the leading man, but really contribute wholeheartedly to a collective, takes a certain amount of letting go of ego, takes a certain amount of being comfortable in your own skin and your own creativity, and knowing what you really bring to the band. Because, I mean, I don't know if you'd call yourself a hype man, but I mean, that's kind of the only thing I can think of to kind of like where to put you. But I mean, the band is not the band if you're not there. Like, it's literally not even the same thing. Like, it's such an important piece. And so how did you get there?
It was always kind of like I mean, me and Mo have been friends for 20 plus years.
Well, and how did music start for you? I didn't mean to interrupt, but yes, I want to go there. Yeah.
Music for me started when I was in high school with like punk bands and like hardcore bands.
Okay.
And like I was super into skating. So like I found out about a whole world of things through, Thrasher magazine and just all these things when I was young, and I was ferocious for music when I was a kid, like just like absorbing like as much as I could, because it was an escape.
And you grew up around here?
I grew up in the South Shore, yeah, and then in the Boston area too. Since I was 16, 17, I haven't, other than my other ventures in life, but yeah, I've been around the area for quite a long time. And yeah, and then it was like singing in bands, punk bands, going to shows all the time, going to the Rat, going to, all these shows, all ages shows in Boston, VFW halls. And I mean, this was this was late 90s, mid to late 90s and early 2000s, just like shows 2, 3, 4 nights a week. Like,
How old are you when this is
I'm like, so let's see. I graduated in 96.
Okay.
So I'm in like my late teens, early 20s, like, but the music shows and all that started when I was like 14. The actual like making music took a little bit later. But yeah, and then me and Mo had been friends for so long, and he was just like, yo, I'm about to go on this tour. Now, okay, this is a very, how we got there is long. All right, I guess I'll just go into it. So I had lost my parents when I was 16. My father passed away.
Oh shit!
And then, so that was one of those things where it's like, I don't know. When you're that age, you can't really like process it that much, because it's just like, and it's surreal, and like you're in high school, and it's super weird, and there's all these emotions, and like. It was one of those things that like I couldn't.
So, your father died when you were in high school.
In high school, yeah.
How did you initially react to that? Like, I don't mean to.
No. It's fine, because it was a long. It wasn't like it was out of the blue. It was a long kind of like.
Okay.
My father got cancer, and he fought it for probably like 5 or 6 years. So a lot of my life, I grew up in like hospitals visiting my dad, and it was just, a lot of treatments, a lot of So it was a lot for a young kid. You know, I was, so at that point, it's just like I dealt with it for so long. And
So you were prepared for it. You can't be prepared for it.
Yeah, but like even the prepared part, like, I don't know. You don't, I feel like when you're a kid, you just kind of prolong the inevitable and you just keep pushing it away.
You're not really facing it.
Yeah, right. Like you think you are, but like in reality, you're just kind of,
don't even know what that means.
Yeah, right. You can't even process. Yeah. So, my initial was kind of just, I just kind of went numb. And I think that a part of that never kind of ever left me.
How do you think that manifested in you in high school?
Oh, I mean, I was already wild. Like I was already wild in general. But yeah, I mean, it was like, because my household was always like, wait till your father gets home. Mm-hmm. Like one of those things. You know what I mean? You know, you probably relate, right?
Oh, yeah.
So when there was no like dad to come home, I was just like, see you later. And I just had, yeah, I mean.
Well, there's rebellious teen plus grieving.
It was a perfect storm of just a shit show, you know, and I kind of went on life. That's definitely when the self-destructiveness kind of just takes form, right? Like trying to find these things to escape with. And I was like in the epicenter of like music, going to clubs, going to raves. I mean, this is the late 90s, so like raving was like, especially around here.
So all the ways to escape are right there.
Drugs, everything, and they were all readily available, and that's the hole that you go down, you know. And
well, you have no skills, you have no resources.
Sure, like you're a kid,
right.
You know what I mean? And like my mom was just kind of like, she's trying to process it, you know. She only knew life with my dad, really, you know what I mean? So it's like, there's so much going on. So the best thing you can do as a kid in your mind is like, I'm gonna get the fuck out of here. you know? So I was wild, man. I was out, you know, even when I was in high school, I lived like 30 minutes south, and I'd be in Boston 3-4 nights a week, sneaking into clubs, like just doing all types of wild shit, like, you know. And then that behavior just went on for a long time, you know. And it's just, but yeah, it was a lot of escape, a lot of just putting things away, like I talk about, like compartmentalizing it and just like locking that shit away. And
did you graduate from high school?
Yeah, oh yeah,
you did?
I went to college too.
Okay.
Yeah,
yeah.
I went to Suffolk University. I did Actually, I went to boarding school too. That's where I learned all the good stuff, and I learned about all the good drugs.
Ironically,
I went. Yeah, I did a PG year at a boarding school because I wrestled in high school, so they wanted me to wrestle in college, but I didn't. I wasn't about that. That's when I was already deep in the like just being out and just being wild and like.
So you were a music fan at this point, but did you think you were going to make music at this point?
Yeah, I mean, I think I was always involved in music more than just a fan. Like I always kind of like dabbled in bands. I was in bands at this point. This is when I was definitely like making bands, but nothing serious. Like definitely nothing like more than like playing shows at like, you know, down the street at like the Elks Lodge or something.
As a teenager, though, a lot of kids aren't doing that. That's still pretty.
You know what though? I feel lucky in the fact that where I grew up, there was a really large percentage of kids that were making music, and it wasn't. It was like all the misfit kids in the surrounding areas. Just kind of that's where they all merged, right? And that was their. You know, because when you're growing up, you really only know the people in your town. Like you're rarely going to other towns and like hanging out with people when you're young. For me, it was like I knew people from all over because you're going to these shows and you're meeting people, and yeah, it just you build this community, you know. And then I think that's a lot that helped me tremendously in the fact,
keep talking.
Just you know, building that family that you know I got to choose rather than you know that was given to me.
So we were talking about like high school and getting into music, or you had been in music already. So because there were a lot of kids.
There was a lot of kids in my like literally they like I said there's these kids all the misfit kids I think that didn't really fit in their school. You know, and they were kind of like that's why they didn't fit in because they were either into like punk music or you know a lot of hardcore music in the area where I grew up. So yeah, and I think that's the community these kids found And I think that's where that really, you know, like that, people say that's how like they recruit people in gangs, but I was at a part in my life that I was looking for something. Like I needed somewhere to belong, right? Because I felt like everything was just being taken away, you know?
Do you have siblings?
Yeah, I have an older brother.
Yeah.
But we're so different that like at that time our paths were so much.
Yeah.
It wasn't even, you know.
So as far as influences, like, did your parents help influence music? Was
Yeah,
there anything
yeah. My
connected
mom was super into music, like super into like my mom loved like Little Richard and like, you know, Chuck Berry and all that stuff. You know, Stevie Wonder, soul music, old school rock and roll. Yeah, and it was cool. It was like really cool, fundamental. It was like a good jump off point, you know, from there. But yeah, my mom definitely. My dad was a trip. My dad listened to like just straight like oldies music. My dad was a cop, and he did 3 tours in Vietnam, and like he was a trip, man. But music, yeah, I didn't love the music that my dad listened to. He listened to that old school, and there's nothing wrong with it. I mean, I don't get down with like doo-wop and shit like that, but
no.
I mean, I can now. I can appreciate it, but when you're a kid, you're like
50s music and stuff.
Yeah. But like when you're a kid,
the oldies.
Yeah, you're like, what is this shit, man? Like, you know, now I can, you know, appreciate it. You know,
I used to love this shit. It was what my mom.
I mean, yeah, right. So, but that's what I'm saying. It earns a place in your heart.
Oh, sure.
But yeah, but I was way into the music that my mom listened to. So, yeah, my mom definitely got me into like, you know. And my mom always seemed to like bad boys of music too, like just dudes that were wild, you know what I mean? Like, so that's the music that I started, you know. I think that also helped down the music path that I went on. But yeah, definitely family helped.
Yeah. So that was a part of it. I feel like it normally has like some kind
I think
of
that's I think that's the sprinkling, the inkling of the seed is planted there, you know, and I think. And that's what I'm excited about, you know, with my kids, that just to see where they go, because I'm going to, you know, show them, you know, the vast, you know, world of music, and just to see what they pick and choose and where they go with it. I think that's going to be the real interesting part.
That's a really fun thing, being an artist and a parent, is just seeing where they take what any creative impulses. You know, and kind of what direction that takes. And I learned a lesson with my oldest where I was taking art, like at least visual art, so seriously that she was almost averse to it. Like, at least that kind of art. She almost wanted nothing to do with it, because I was just like manic. Yeah. Right? So there was a lesson there, but it's interesting how it can kind of go either way.
Yeah, absolutely. Influences is wild when you think back about it, and like you think about all the people in your life that kind of like drop these gems on you, and it kind of like changed. Like I remember the first time I heard like heavy metal, like in my friend's basement, and I was like, what? Like, you know, and I'll always remember that, and it's just.
So what was it? What do you think attracted you to like heavy metal and punk? Was that just was that the people you were hanging out with?
Outlet, or man. It was anger. I had a lot of anger, man. After that, I was super angry.
So was that before losing your dad?
No, this was right after.
Yeah.
I mean,
was that new? Do you think?
No, I think that's what I'm saying. I think I always kind of leaned towards like I said, I was a wild kid. Man.
Right.
I was sweet. I was a sweet kid, but I was just wild, much like my kids. But you know, and it's just one of those things that I never thought. I don't know, just the fact. Sorry, what was the question you asked? You can edit this, right?
Yeah. Really, it was more about like if the anger came, like if it manifested kind of after.
Yeah, the anger definitely. Yeah, it came from it came after the real like needing to have an outlet for it came after my dad, because.
Was that conscious, or was that just that was just
luckily I had the wherewithal to just kind of like gravitate towards that naturally, and you know, I'm glad I did, you know, because I feel like those things can. I mean, even though the path I went down was nuts. I mean, I feel like it could have been far worse if I didn't have music in my life. Like,
Yeah.
So, and it was art too. Like at this point now, well, I mean, we can jump a few years later, and my mom passed away when I was 20. So then it was like the chain came off, and it was just like, fuck this. Like I was, I couldn't handle it anymore, but in that time, something happened in my life that changed the whole kind of trajectory of life, and I moved. What happened was,
in addition to losing both of your parents now at this point,
but this was
At
in the positive.
Okay.
So right after my mom died, we were slanging weed like crazy,
Yeah.
and we had a ton of money, and things started getting crazy, and we were all young kids, and we were kind of shook, like, damn, like some of our homies were getting robbed, people were getting locked up, so we were like, fuck this. So the dudes, my partners in crime, they had family out there, so we ended up going to Hawaii.
Holy shit.
And we moved to Hawaii, and it was nuts. Like,
and you were how old when this happened?
I was 20, yeah.
That's a dope
20,
time.
21. No, I was 21.
Even better.
Yeah, and so it was like my brain was just frazzled, man, and I needed the world to show me something. I needed I needed a sign, and yeah, that turned out to be it. And that was the the thing that kind of saved my life. It didn't necessarily save me from getting into years of trouble later, but it saved my life, like, for sure, like physical life, like, yes.
Moving to Hawaii?
Yeah, because I was going down. If I was in Boston and now, mind you, in Hawaii, I lived where there was like no electricity, like, we had like the hot showers rarely, and which I'm not complaining. I was living in Maui, like, it was fine, like, and but yeah, it just kind of Maui and Hawaii just kind of brought something out of me that I needed at the time, and it came right on time, So I ended up living with this Hawaiian family out there. I got taken in by this Hawaiian family, got super into like Hawaiian culture out there, and got into like growing food and growing all types of stuff. And
how did you connect with a family in Hawaii to live with?
My homies, their cousin had married a guy from that area in Hawaii.
Okay.
So they ended up moving back there. So they were just out there, and they were like, if you guys need a place to come, just come. Like,
so kind of amidst like kind of the worst thing ever happened.
Absolutely. The timing was impeccable.
I really can't imagine much worse things happening at 20 years old. Like,
and I had nothing to lose at that point. I was like, fuck it. Why wouldn't I just go to Hawaii? Like, you know what I mean? And like, and this was crazy. I was living in a house with like, bands and all this stuff, and I'm paying rent and all these things. But I was like, you know what? I'm like, fuck it. So within like 4 days, we just had dealt with all of our shit. I gave my roommates like 2 months rent and was like, figure it out. And like,
that was probably the best thing you ever did, huh?
Ever, man. It would have been, I would have been more of a mess than I even was later on, but.
How long were you in Hawaii for?
A better part of a decade.
Wow.
Yeah. And
wow.
Yeah, and it was great. I missed it every day. I've thought about it every day since I've been back, like many times. It's just, I learned so much out there, and I just like, I healed, and I healed enough where I could start to kind of deal with it.
Would you call that like a bit of a solitary chapter? Like,
yeah, that part of my life Hawaii was great because there was no distractions, really. Like, there was nothing to do but be with, the people that were around you. And they call it talk story out there. At night, it would just like get dark, and you're like, you just like look at each other, and they're like, you just start talking. You just talk about a lot of things, and and yeah, through that you learn things, you pick things up, you kind of listen to. I was living with some older Hawaiians. You just kind of listen to their knowledge. And
were you doing did you get into any kind of meditation or anything like that
out there? It was just like Yeah, there was a lot of hippies we lived on my side of the island.
I mean,
And,
that's
you know what I mean?
must-
Like, yeah. So yeah, I definitely got into. That's where I got into. Because before that, if you would talk to me about like meditation or anything like that, I'd be like, man, shut up, dude. Like, I don't even know what you're talking about. Like, so yeah, I learned a lot of things. I think I learned about self-care a little bit out there, you know, and that didn't, you know, I didn't pick that up until later in life, but I think I saw it, and I saw, like, you know.
I think there's so much to be said for getting the fuck out of where you're from. Like,
Yeah.
in your late teens, early 20s, like, as soon as you're able to.
Yeah.
Total life hack, I feel
Yeah,
like.
man, don't stay where you're at. Yeah,
No, you have to.
Yeah, man, grow. That's like we talked about earlier. Growth is change, and change is like changing locations sometimes.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
To
yeah.
really comprehend, you know, and
Well, it broadens your view on everything, right? You get to experience a completely different way of
Absolutely.
things, especially that kind of difference. You go from Boston to Hawaii.
yeah, very.
You've got a completely different perspective
Very
on things
different.
for 10 years.
Yeah,
Did you visit often in that time?
once,
Wow.
one time.
Good for you. I think I feel like that's like the best way to do
I
it.
had to, man. Yo, when I left, like, people didn't know I left. Like,
Mm.
I said bye to as many people as I could, but then I just dipped.
That's
And,
kind of like when I left
and this,
home.
And this
Yeah.
was kind of the time where, like, this was like we didn't really have cell phones. Like, we didn't have. So, like, if you were gone, like,
Yeah,
you're
you were
gone.
just gone.
Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, people
Yeah.
aren't. You know, this was the early beginnings of whatever, like Facebook or whatever that was that came later on. But like, yeah, like you couldn't.
MySpace and shit.
If you wanted to be gone and out, you could be
You could
gone.
just disappear,
And,
right.
Yeah, and you know.
Well, and
that's-
it almost wasn't as weird because you didn't talk to everyone five
no,
times a day.
that's what I'm saying, right? Yeah, you don't
yeah.
even know what everyone was doing all the time, you know. So, yeah, and that and I felt bad. I felt bad just dipping and just leaving, but I needed to, man. It was just I was done. Like, I was so done. I
think, like you said, it was the best thing you could have ever done for yourself.
oh man, yeah. It opened my eyes to so many things. Like, just.
And these are dudes you were selling weed with?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's funny, I stayed there the longest of anyone. And I went out there with 4. There was 5 of us.
They all came back here. They just went other
Some
places.
of them came back here.
Yep.
Some of them, most of them came back here. Yeah, I just stayed. I needed it.
How much longer did you stay?
Like 3 or 4 years.
Wow, yeah.
Passed.
So
yeah.
it's a different amount of time.
And it was wild because then, like, I really felt like I was alone out there. And when you're on an island, you really feel like you're out there. Like, Hawaii is like one of the most remote places, like, in the
Right.
world. So it's like,
Right.
you very much feel like
You
you're
really
on
are
a
far away
tiny
from
rock
everything.
in the island. Yeah, an island in the middle of the ocean. You know.
What
And
was life like there? Describe
slow,
a day there.
Slow. Wake up, go downstairs, eat breakfast, and we had this like outdoor kitchen area. So like it was kind of like they call it like a hui, where like this woman had a bunch of. She was like 42 acres in because it was their Hawaiian homeland. So like they So yeah, and it was amazing. All types of vegetation, anything you could imagine. There was a waterfall out there, and yeah, it was crazy. But she, allowed and invited some people to live up there, and it was like a little community up there. It was cool, man. It was a little like, I don't want to say it was a hippie community because it wasn't, but it was like that vibe, but just without the hippie part. There's nothing wrong with that, but that just wasn't how it was. That just wasn't how it was. It's reality.
Yeah.
It was still kind of rough.
What was the difference? What would have made it hippie?
White people, I guess, and
right.
like
Yeah,
it was
yeah,
just like
sure.
straight Hawaiians.
Yeah,
and they don't know about.
This was more
they
like,
know
like-
about this shit, but like
this is more like native living.
yeah. Oh yeah, very much so. Yeah. They didn't. I don't think they took too kindly to all those kids moving out there. Luckily, I got a pass apparently, but yeah. Okay, so wake up, go down, eat breakfast with everybody, tend to your things, whatever you got growing. Some people had jobs. I had a job for most of it. I did like landscaping out there. Yeah, it was a trip just to be out there, and you're like weed whacking, and you like look over, and there's like whales breaching and shit, and you're just like, it was a very bizarre reality check that I kind of needed because you realize, like, yeah, you're like, damn, I'm working on busting my ass, but it just doesn't feel that way because you're doing it for a purpose, you know, like having to haul buckets of water and shit up the mountain, like, you know, it's not easy, but you do it because you just have to. And
it means something to you to do it. You're not just being told to do something you don't want to do.
Your perspective changes.
Yeah.
On how the world works and how this crazy reality we live in the United States and in the better part of the world is just like madness. Especially here, it's just like it's madness. Like, because out there, people really do live on island time, and it's just like everything functions just fine. Like life goes on, and it just, you know, the
gives you more perspective on what's actually important.
You're like, this isn't real. Like for the years following when I came back, I was really jaded. I was just like, this isn't real. Like none of this is real. Like this doesn't matter. I had no belongings. I had nothing.
What made you decide to come back?
I had like the world. There was just a lot going on, and like, you know, family stuff with my brother, and like there was just a lot.
So you came back, and you're now in your 30s.
Yeah, and it's different. You know, not quite my 30s yet. I was in my late 20s.
Okay. Yep. So about a decade you're out.
So when I was coming back, Mo had moved out to California, and he was in a group out there.
Oh, I didn't realize he ever lived out there.
He moved back. Oh, Mo was in a really, they got signed to a major out there. There was a group called Mission, which actually started in Boston. But he had just come back from out there, and we literally like linked like right as we were kind of coming back, and he was still making a lot of music with this dude Headnod, he was in a group with, and he was touring for this album. And he was about to do. He got booked on the Warped Tour, and it was like a kind of a big deal because there was like no hip hop acts on the Warped Tour at that point. Mm-hmm. And Mo has he had a really asthma, like really bad, and he's like, dude, I gotta go on tour. I gotta do these shows like every night. He's like, you should you know, roll with me, and do this tour with me. And just kind of help me out with my lyrics, and we can figure out parts and all that stuff. And yeah, that's what we did. We kind of, that's kind of how I ended up doing music with Mo. Was that first Warped Tour when we came back together, and it just kind of never stopped.
Were you making music in Hawaii at all?
No.
Was that a thing? So that was just completely 10 years away from.
My friends were all musicians, so we were still making music, but it wasn't for like, it was nothing but us.
Yeah,
you know?
just for
we were.
Fun and
there
leisure.
was music, of course. Definitely, there was music. There's a lot of music in Hawaii. Like it's
right.
You know, so
I feel like everyone's like, it's a common thing to sit and play the ukulele or whatever it might be, and just sing and
all types. Yeah,
it's not as big a deal to sing and use your voice there.
Yeah, it was just like it was cool. That was a vibe, and I learned a lot about traditional Hawaiian music and slack key guitar and all these things.
But then coming back, so you and Mo hadn't made music before?
No.
But you obviously
we knew each other. Yes,
Yeah.
We knew each other, but we never made music together. And and at first it was just kind of like, I was just like, yeah, I'll help you out. Like, sure. Like,
were you into hip hop at that point?
Oh, I was always into hip hop.
Okay.
I grew up writing graffiti, and like I was in the era of, it was like Yo MTV Raps, and then it was like Headbangers Ball. And like that was my world. Like, and I, you know.
So you were always into both.
Always. And I grew up watching Arsenio Hall, and peace to Arsenio Hall. He like, literally, my hip hop repertoire came from Arsenio Hall.
Oh shit! Wow.
I remember my mom used to let me stay up late to watch him, and then I'd sneak and watch a little roller derby afterwards. But yeah, Arsenio Hall. Like, I remember seeing Tribe Called Quest on there. I remember seeing all these groups, you know, for the first time, even sometimes the first time they'd ever been on TV before, like, you know, and it's just like, wow, now you have like you see hip hop, you know, and like, because, you know, obviously growing up in Boston, in the Boston area, hip hop was big, but it wasn't like big like that yet, you know what I mean? Like, but as time progressed, you know, obviously, yeah, it did, but, you know. Yeah, anyway, hip-hop was always in my life, yeah, for sure, because I was, like, super into graffiti,
okay,
like, for a long time. And
But the punk and hard rock culture.
oh,
just
everything was
spoke to
always
you.
there.
Yeah,
No, I was in both. I lived in both worlds. So,
I'm not saying it pulled you away, but that also really spoke to you. 'Cause,
Yeah,
I mean,
man.
for me, like, it took me a long time to really appreciate.
Yeah.
I mean, I grew up on, like, my mom listening to, like, 50s oldies and like and that kind of stuff. I always really liked, but then, you know, like, was always attracted to soul music, and I was always just kind of attracted that direction.
Yeah.
It took me a long time to really start to appreciate other kinds of music.
I feel like, and I feel lucky the generation. I think that's a generation I come from, man. I feel like it was still. You had all these. It was it was the early era of MTV, and like you're finally seeing what these people look like. So now there's like a face to put to these things, and like. As a young person, it's like so striking. Like you see like NWA on Yo MTV Raps rolling down, in Compton with like shotguns in the back of a truck. Like, you know what I mean? Right. There's like you see all these iconic hip hop moments happen, and it's just like I just got super swept up into it, man. And like I came from like I guess the quote unquote like fundamentals of hip hop. It was like whatever the elements and all that. Like
Same.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like that was I was a purist, I guess, for a long time. You know what I mean? And like which I think kind of like messed me up for a little bit because like I missed some groups. I think that I was just like nah. You know what I mean? Later on, but I was
like arrogant at certain points.
I was very much
I wasn't going to let certain groups in just because, and some of those guys are legends now.
But it's wild because the two hip hop and punk share a very similar story, and they kind of like came up symbiotically in a certain way.
I agree.
But I don't think, right, like I feel like there wouldn't be punk if there wasn't hip hop and kind of vice versa. I feel like.
Even back to the skateboarding thing. So I'm from North Dakota originally. Hip hop was like kind of a weird concept out there, like in the 80s and 90s when it was, MTV was a thing. I grew up near an Air Force base, so there was actually a fair amount of diversity, even though like we're in the middle of nowhere.
Sure.
White folks and natives, right? But like we had BET, we had those things. Like so, where was I going with this? What was the last thing you had just said?
Hip hop in general, growing up and like seeing it on TV and watching like putting a face to the people who
Yeah, you had said something that made me think specifically though, like because at least growing up there wasn't a ton of access, but you could watch BET. You could see, MTV was, and it's still a very early kind of stages. But they were all still very much their own thing. I know where I was going with this. So when I was in high school, it was literally only the skater kids who were listening to dope hip-hop. But all the other kids were listening to Tupac and Biggie and all the stuff that was on the radio.
Yeah.
But the skaters were listening to Wu-Tang. They were listening to like the real shit. They were listening to Gangstar. They were digging through the crates. Whereas
I feel like skateboarding culture. Like
so for me, those cultures are very connected. That's
they are, and that's kind of like I said. I remember skateboarding was kind of my introduction to all of it. Like, you know what I mean? Because I started skateboarding when I was like hard when I was like 8. You know what I mean? Like I loved skateboarding for a long time. I still do. I'm just old. But it's like skating. I remember picking up a Thrasher magazine, and like I remember flipping to like the music page, and I'll never forget this because it was like the first time I'd ever. I was into punk and hardcore at the time, but I was just really starting to get into it because of skateboarding. You know what I mean? Like. And I read this article, and there was a split-page article, and one side was about Bad Brains, which from that moment on pretty much became my favorite band ever. And then the other side was a story about Ika Mouse, the reggae artist. And it's just like now in my life, like it just seems so like those two things, because I got really into reggae later on in life, and it's like I just got these little things along the way that kind of just through skateboarding. You'd watch a skate video, and it's like and I think that's why a lot of like the underground hip hop stuff was big with them, because a lot of that music was in skate videos back then. They were in the 411 videos. They were in the, you know what I mean? Like, so I mean, those things kind
CKY2K,
of like all of that stuff, man. Like skateboard, and it's funny. Like I grew up in like the kids generation, like the movie Kids.
Yeah,
like,
100%.
that was my life.
That
like
was
for
us.
a long
Right.
So like this was our lives, right? Like
Yep.
and intrinsically like skateboarding was a part of that, you know. And I feel really lucky. I remember going to like the Supreme store in New York when they first opened, and like watching kids skate out front, like Harold and all those kids skate, and like. Yeah, skateboarding to me was like kind of the pinpoint of just like the beginning of, you know, because I just did it because I love skateboarding, and then you see the culture, you start to see the culture behind it, you know, and it's just like, wow, and there wasn't, I mean, and not for nothing, back then there wasn't a lot of black kids skating, you know, it just wasn't how it was. So like it fills my heart to see, you know, a lot of, I mean, obviously nowadays, like there's so many dope black skaters, and doesn't even matter anymore. But yeah, and I think that's another thing with skateboarding too, is like a lot of different kids were, like you said, were into skateboarding, and like
that was a funny thing with me is, so like, I mean, none of my skater friends when I was in high school were black, but there weren't a lot of black kids at my high school. I was one of the only ones, and I'm mixed, so like I didn't really have a place to fit in high school. So like skateboarding attracted the misfits, right? And so those are just some of the dudes that I really connected with,
right?
You know, white or black or whatever.
Sure.
Those are the dudes that I actually had something in common with, whether or not I skated or not. But and it just so happened that those are the dudes who are actually listening to good music, and actually cared about the musicality of things, and I almost like just had more of an attuned ear or eye for art in general.
I think there was just a lot about skateboarding
that attracted that kind of person,
right? Because like a lot of those kids that skated wrote graffiti. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Like in New York, like a lot of those kids skated, they all wrote graffiti. They like I said, we were that kids generation. You know what I mean? Like it was just it. So I feel like that was that whole era, and that kind of like New York era stuff, early skateboarding stuff, like Supreme and stuff, like that culture. And those guys were rocking with like Ear Snot and like all these crazy graffiti artists in New York, and like it was just a mashup of all like different cultures, you know, but like for a common goal, you know. And I think it was okay to be friends with whoever, you know what I mean? Like it didn't matter, and I think everything kind of fed in each other, you know what I mean? Like artists and music went hand in hand. Like luckily growing up, all my friends, like they were either like artists or musicians or both, or like, you know, everyone kind of did something in some capacity, and
that's cool.
And that's dope. You know what I mean?
Like
I didn't have any friends that just like hung out. Like everyone kind of was into something or did something, or like, you know, was a rapper or, you know, whatever. So yeah, and I think that feeds a lot. That whole feeds, you know, bands, and it's just like I said, skateboarding. And it's funny, I never really thought about that until now. Like, now we're talking about it, like the actual pinpoint. But like, yeah, skateboarding, man. It kind of everything's like came from that, and you know.
Do you think it came from skateboarding, or do you think it came from having a community?
I think it was like that. I mean, the skateboarding was the catalyst for the community. You know what I mean? Like,
right.
But yeah, I mean, I liked skateboarding, but yeah, of course, the culture, like that's what I got into. I started watching skate videos. You start. You know, and like,
I guess the reason I think of that because I was not good at skateboarding.
Yeah, I mean, I wasn't the best, but I loved it.
But yeah, but I couldn't even, I couldn't even do it. I was a big fat dude. Like I wasn't. Not that if you're big you can't skate, but I was not.
Doesn't make it easy.
Right. But anybody that knew me then that would even think about that, they would fold over laughing. But I guess the reason I thought of that is because that's kind of what attracted me to it, because I had never really fit in, like ever, and I always tried too hard to fit in. And it was when I started like kind of finding like some friends like in the skater community, like that's when I kind of actually felt like I had like a crew.
There wasn't as much as the guard up and stuff like that. Yeah.
Or there wasn't as many judgments because we're all fucking misfits.
Yeah.
Like, nobody likes any of us.
Cares that you're fat. Like,
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
It's
like oh, okay. Like,
yeah. Or that you're mixed, or that you this or whatever, or that you don't fit into
absolutely.
whatever.
I completely agree. Big up skateboarding.
Yeah, big up skateboarding.
Big up skateboarding.
Absolutely. And it was super controversial when we were kids too. I feel like
everything was controversial when we were kids.
Everyone hated skaters.
Yeah, I mean, probably because they were rotting the brains of the nation's youth.
Sure. Man, skateboarding. I honestly appreciate how open you've been already. So I'm kind of seeing things a little bit like pre-Hawaii and post-Hawaii. How much different was your life coming back after spending so many years in Hawaii? Like, I mean, really, very definitive years of your life.
Super weird. Some people were like, yo, where the fuck have you been? Like, you know, and it's just...
So what year did you come back from Hawaii?
2006.
Okay. So there's smartphones now.
Yeah.
There's all kinds
Facebook.
It's literally a completely different world.
Yeah.
Not like you were in
MySpace. No, it was MySpace. It wasn't even Facebook. It was MySpace. Like, you know, like the world had gone on. And I came back and I was like, this is super weird. I hadn't owned shoes for like 5 years. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I gave away all my stuff when I left, like my winter jackets. I gave away everything. I'm like, I'm never coming back, guys. Like,
right.
But, you know.
What drew you back?
Man, it's hard to... I was out there for a while, and like island fever is real, man. Like you're stuck on an island, man, and it's...
Tell me about island fever.
So
I feel like I've heard the term, but...
It's basically like everyone knows everyone, and and you just like, I gotta get the fuck out of here. Like, you know, even though you're in paradise, you know, and I was young, man, and also I just felt like I was like, man, I'm kind of like retired, but I'm not. I shouldn't be, you know. Like because I did love music and I did love art, and like I'm not trying to write graffiti in Hawaii. You know what I mean? Like there's just you know what I mean? Like it doesn't breed that. It doesn't. There's no concrete or anything for all these energies to reverberate off, and like, you know, so. Yeah, I felt like I was losing that stuff. And that obviously wasn't the main thing, but it was like something I would like tell myself to be like, nah, you got to go back and do some things. Like, I felt like I was just too complacent and just kind of like just there living life. And granted, I sound like an asshole now that I think about it, but like at the time, it's just like, I just didn't want to, I was done relaxing or whatever, you know what I mean? Healing.
You just felt like it was time.
It was
You were
anyway, but island fever is just basically like everyone knows your business, you know everybody. Like it's hard, you know. And I mean, it's hard living in paradise. No, but
pros and cons of everything. I suppose
it was my age, and it was just like my drive, and I just wanted to do more. And it's wild that things with Mo just happened to pop off like right pretty much as soon as I kind of got back.
Do you believe in coincidences?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I believe in. I do believe.
It's not a true question.
No, I know.
I
do. I do believe in coincidences, but I don't. Yes, I do. I'm not going to go any further than that. Yes, I believe in coincidences because too many weird things have gone on in my life that.
No, we can open that up. We can open that box because I feel like that's a pretty interesting box. A lot of people will debate that and they'll say that coincidences don't exist. I feel like most people believe that they do, and I'm not trying to get all woo-woo.
No.
But I believe that it's crazy
Hawaii, bro. I know about woo-woo.
When stars align like that. I always feel like those are the moments, I guess, that I feel like there must be some divine director of
yes,
things.
Man.
Whoever,
absolutely,
right.
man. And it took me a long time to get to that, you know. But I believe that, and it's funny because that with Mo, like when we started doing that, things just the trajectory we went on. You know what I mean? Like from doing that tour to like, hey, we should start, collabing together on this next album I'm doing. with this dude Rain. You want to come meet this producer Rain and check out beats with me? And I was, that's just how it started. And
Is that Life After God?
that was, yeah.
That's an amazing album.
Thank you, brother. And we did,
Really
yeah,
is.
we ended up doing 3 albums with Rain. And yeah, it was just like, I feel like I was on the path that we both kind of took to get to,
So you and Mo is really like a partnership.
I mean, yeah, I feel like I've always had Mo's back, like, no matter what, you know what I mean? So, like, I feel like I mean, we definitely, we had these ideas a long time ago of how we, because Mo grew up in the punk scene too, and that's you had that conversation with him when you talked to him, because that's a whole different perspective, being, the black kid in the mostly white punk scene, and
There's a really interesting thing for biracial kids that people just don't talk about a lot.
Yeah, it's hard.
It's weird.
Yeah.
But it can also it creates, I mean, an interest in both directions too. Sometimes where you'll be split and then you're judged on both sides. It's kind of weird.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's something.
But Mo,
that
talk to Mo about that, man, because that's. But we just wanted to blend those things together, and we didn't want it to be like, because we were just coming out of the era of rap rock bands, and we just didn't want it to be that.
Mm-hmm.
We didn't want to be the band trying to sound like Rage Against the Machine or something like that, or Limp Bizkit or any of those bands, but we wanted it to have those elements of
actions too. Sometimes where you'll be split and then you're judged on both sides. It's kind of weird.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's something.
But Mo, talk to Mo about that, man, because that's. But we just wanted to blend those things together, and we didn't want it to be because we were just coming out of the era of rap rock bands, and we just didn't want it to be that.
Mm-hmm.
We didn't want to be the band trying to sound like Rage Against the Machine or something like that, or Limp Bizkit or any of those bands, but we wanted it to have those elements of things that we grew up on, so that's when kind of both sides of our,
Well, you weren't trying to copy anything.
No, yeah, right, but I think that's where me and Mo kind of that's where the style started to come from, is these ideas. And the DJ we had at the time, Special Blend, he was doing all this stuff, doing mashups with punk stuff and hip hop. So that was kind of the beginning where we're all right, this is kind of possible. So I think that's why Still Gold always kind of leaned more towards the hip hop side of things, with just kind of elements. But I think it was that sound and all those things where we kind of collabed on a little bit, and Mo's just always been the dopest, just great MC. So
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that doesn't hurt when you're,
Well,
so
right.
and then but it's cool. It was cool to see that I got to be part of and help and shape kind of the path that it ended up being.
And you're well. So, did you ever make music of your own? I'm just curious.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, because I believe you must have.
Yeah.
So, how would you describe that?
I've done. I mean, I've been, like I said, I've been in punk bands.
So many
I've been
bands,
in hardcore
right?
bands.
Yeah.
I've been in, that was the days of going to practice spaces and you could
That's pre-Hawaii.
both.
Okay.
Pre and post, yeah.
So even though you're making music with Mo, you're still off doing your
I
own
was doing
projects.
other,
and doing your
nothing
own stuff.
crazy. It was never anything like that.
Nothing
'Cause,
serious?
we were really in it, at that point. We were really pushing whatever we were doing at the time. Going out a lot, going to shows, going, having your face seen, going, is doing that whole
just
that
trying
whole
to be
thing,
everywhere, right?
Trying to be
Right.
everywhere at once, and I think we did a pretty good job of it. But it just being able, like I said, being able to shape all the way we came up to.
What was the goal?
Never had one, honestly, except make music, which has also been dope.
Yep.
Like, of course, you always wanted to get it out to as many people as possible and get seen and do all these things. But like, nah, there was.
Did you guys ever have the dream of being the big, getting? I mean, Mo had been signed, but was there ever like the dream of like being signed and being in the Source magazine and like?
I mean, I think there's
all that kind
I
of
think
stuff.
there's always that like in the back of your head, like you're shooting for that. But we were never like, this has to happen. And I think that's why we've been a band for 11 years. And then me and Mo have been working together for even longer, almost 20 years. And it's like, there was never like a disappointment where it's like, oh, we didn't get signed. We didn't, you know what I mean? Like,
do you think it's a mistake when people do have that in mind? Like they see the glitz and the glam or whatever of what it means to be like the rock star complex where they want to.
You're just doing it for the wrong reasons at that point.
Right. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, if that's what you're into, sure. Like, whatever. Like, kids nowadays, is that right? And I'm not trying to sound like the old dude, but like, it's like back in the day, you had to show and prove. Like, you had to like grind, and you had to like, as an MC, a lot of people, you know, they just gave up because at that time you had to be dope. Now, I'm not saying you don't have to be dope, but it's just, I know kids that are like getting put on and they're like, yeah, I've been rapping for like 2 years. It's like, what?
Yeah.
Like, what? Like, what are you talking about? Like, you know. So I think that's important, man. And like, I don't care. Music is music. I'm not trying to gatekeep or any of that, but it's just like, it's just like shit, man. Like, it used to just mean more to me, I guess, especially hip hop in general.
Right. Just the goal was to be able to continue to create.
The goal was always just like, yeah, just make music with your homies and just, you know, like we all had jobs. Like we all like, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah, I guess that was part of the question. Cause like, was there a goal to earn from it? Was there a goal to like,
I think it's something that you always want, but like, I feel like if you're putting your, you know, you're like, I got to pay rent off, you know, my music this month. Like, no, it was always just like, we all always had jobs. We were always, you know, sure, it would have been nice, you know what I mean? Like, there's been times where, yeah, I could have, members of the band could have not worked and lived off music for a bit, but like, how, you know, we all got families, man. Like, how, it's got to be guaranteed. Like, you know, you can't play the role where it's like, maybe if I rock a couple shows this month, I can pay my rent and like that. It's like those days don't happen anymore.
Yeah, I made a big mistake by trying to do that too early and really just kind of putting so much pressure on my creative muscle. I feel like it kind of broke me.
Because you start to panic.
Well, yeah, and I lived in that panic for
a long
couple
time.
years.
Yeah,
It's
you're right. It's hard, man.
Yeah,
you know. So yeah, I mean, those things were always like, I guess in the back of your mind, you want them to happen, but like, oh man, it was always just to make music.
Part of the reason I ask is just for anyone who might be listening that is like younger or maybe not so young, but struggling with trying to find their creative voice or trying to get to where they want to be creatively, musically, whatever that might be, and just because we attach our value to those kinds of things as well, sometimes even as a person. And then when we're not able to take things where we want to, then we feel like we completely failed.
Personally, you're a letdown. Yeah,
right. No one cares. Why am I creating anything anyway?
Dude, if we, as a band, man, there's so many times people have been like, why aren't you guys like signed and like all doing all this and like, man, I don't know. Like, it's not for lack of trying. I'll tell you that.
Yeah, I fucking hate that question.
It's like, what do you want me to say, dude? Like, I don't know. Because like, we don't want to play the game. Like, we don't want to do all that. And like you said, when you described the band earlier, we're hard to fit into a box, man. And it's like we could have folded and just made hip hop straight up, like boom, bap, bang, whatever. Like, but no, like we're not playing it safe. So it's like.
Well, and that's not what you're doing it for, and I think that helps. It really disables creativity when you're just focused on trying to make it or make money from it.
Still Gold would have been done so long ago.
Right.
So long ago.
I mean, every single one of the albums has sounded different, from Monday Morning Music to the most recent one. I mean, there's a clear progression.
Thank you, man. It's just, I just feel like Still Gold, if we had the notion of like, we have to make this work, it would have folded a long time ago. It's always just been like, and those dudes are like my brothers, man. Like, it's like, I feel so lucky that we get to make music together and tour all over the world and do all these things, and it's cool, man. It's like it's
Do you ever reach those points creatively? I don't mean to interrupt you, but did you ever reach those points creatively though, where it's just like where you want to give up? It's just not happening like
Dude.
how you hoped, or it's not justifying the time, or you're sort of ready to throw in the towel.
we've we've put out albums to like crickets. It's been like, you know what I mean? Like we've had some, Still Gold has had some shite luck. We were about to put out an album, and Dre ended up dropping the Compton album like the same day.
Oh.
And it was just like we had a whole string, and we had a joke for a long time with us. Every time we'd play an outdoor show, it would rain. I swear, for like a year straight, every outdoor show we played, it rained. And it was, and there's just, of course, there's always like, why us? Why is this happening to us? And it was like, we all kind of had to get over that, where it was just like, man, let's just go out there and have fun, dude. Let's just play music. Like, let's not take it so serious. And I mean, I'm not trying to say like, take it serious if it's too lighthearted, but like, there's a regiment to it, but like, don't rely on it.
Well,
like,
no, and you can totally take yourself too seriously.
You know?
I've been guilty of that many times myself, where you're taking yourself so seriously that you're just blowing everything out of proportion, and then you just get more worked up.
You touched on it earlier, man. That's a lot of ego work, man. That's a lot of ego work, man. Because that's what it is, like that, and that's the reason why you're taking it so seriously, because you just can't get past yourself and not seeing that it's just like it's just art, man. Like, you know what I mean? Right, like, it's just, right. and not to that, but it's not saying it's just art. But it's like, it shouldn't be this hard. It's something you love, right? It's like, it should just come freely. But when you feel like you have to produce,
well, when you take something you love and you like obsess over it so much that you create pain from it, you're taking something you love and turning it into something that hurts you.
Yeah.
Right,
Yeah.
versus letting it be something that enriches you and fulfills you and actually pulls you further. It can become a detriment versus...
That's what I was going to say. It's a detriment, for sure. Like,
I've been there many times.
Yeah.
Is that something you've dealt with a lot, or you've just been lucky enough to be with the right creatives that are just keeping it fresh?
No, dude. The amount of arguments that we've all had over things.
I thought you guys just always got along all the time.
Yeah, right. You know all of us. You know that's yeah, but of course, man. We've had so many conversations about so many things. Some get heated, some get, you know what I mean? But it's just like that's like your brothers. Not everyone's going to agree on it, and we're all doing it for the common good of the band,
for the right reason.
So it's like, throwing ideas out, having different ideas for what you want things to be, and all these things, man. And
back to the day job thing, super quick. Like, just because I feel like that's a hard one for a lot of different kind of creatives, whether or not you're a visual artist or a musician or whatever it is. So we have this concept of just not wanting to do anything else. And it gets really hard to focus on a day job or anything like that, because we keep getting called to do this thing. And like, I struggled for a long time, almost feeling like I couldn't really call myself an artist, or I couldn't break out of people calling it my hobby, right? Unless I was really, because I took it too seriously to call it a hobby.
Sure.
So I really struggled with the idea of having a day job, which is why I went so long without one.
Right.
And like completely, I mean, I really hurt my life. Like, it was really, really rough. Did you ever struggle with that, or was it just like, no, dude, I need a job so I can keep doing the thing?
I mean, and this goes back to when as a kid, like, I didn't really have that much. I mean, I had a family, but past the age of 20, I was on my own. So I always had to have a job. I always had to have a place to live. I always, you know what I mean? So like,
nowhere to fall back.
There was zero fallback land. You know what I mean? So it was like, I've literally never not had a job, I think, for longer than like a week or something. Like, I just the paranoia just builds in me, like, oh, I'm going to end up homeless. I'm going to be, you know what I mean? Then, I'm luckier now, but it's just like, it was yeah, it was hard, man. It's one of those things where Yeah, the money was never the goal, so it was kind of just like, as long as that wasn't the focus, and I had enough to live off of and all of this shit, and I'm happy, man.
Yeah,
Like, you know.
I mean, that's the right way to look at it. And I guess in hindsight, I don't understand why I was being so stubborn. But
I mean, it's
like I wish I could have just. I think because I was taking myself too seriously, right? Going back to that, the whole ego thing, like, and just feeling like I was going to force this into working rather than just letting it be something I love to do, and being okay with working a day job that allowed me to do the stuff that I want to do. I guess the problem was like for me, the day job would take up so much time that I now didn't have time to do.
That's the problem with youth, right? You just want it all, and you want it now, and you're not thinking about, you know, what's going to happen if I don't have a job, like, and all this shit. And you just, you know, when I got older, I realized how important it was to have both of those things in my life, though. Like the music and the art and the, you know, and having a job. I've always been kind of able to like balance them enough where I've gotten to really not miss out on much. But the day job was never a thing that I would ever like give up, because that safety is something that, you know, I've always needed. So I don't think that was ever an option for me. I feel like even if I was making enough off music that I could live off of it, I definitely would still have a job. Like, it's just that's just how I am.
Sure.
You know, I don't think I'll ever not have a job till I retire.
Sure. What do you do for a day job?
I'm a chef.
You're a chef. Okay. I think I knew that.
Yeah. So that's another thing. I'm lucky I get to do a job that I love.
I mean, that's a hard job, though.
It's a hard job. It's tiring. It's a lot. You know, it's a lot of on your body. It's a lot. But again, it's art for me. You know, so the whole thing is kind of a meditation. And yeah, I love cooking. I do it at home. I do it at work. Mm-hmm. It's kind of like, it's the one thing that I can do that I can tap in and just kind of not.
So you don't feel like it's taking from you?
Yeah. Nah. I mean, yes, because when I'm at work, I'm like, damn, I could be doing so much more right now.
Sure.
But I have the sense now where I'm like, yeah, but I gotta go, you know, pay this, and I would love to go on vacation next month, and I would love to, you know what I mean? So like, you start to see, well, things in your life start to change, because when you're younger, you don't really care so much about yourself. You're like, I'll just eat ramen, or you know what I mean?
Yep.
Like, you know, so it's like you can sacrifice a lot more.
And now you're a dad. So like, I was about to ask how you think how difficult it is to juggle work and creative life.
Man.
But that becomes a totally different thing when you're a dad and a husband.
Everything changes, man. It's like coming home from work, I see my daughter like two hours a day at 2.5 if I'm lucky, because she's in bed at 7, you know. So it's like it's hard. It's hard being at work and you know, you're a dad, you know, it's hard to be there, and like, especially if you're someone who actually likes being with your children, you know.
Right.
It's yeah, of course, it's hard. It's tough, but the plan is now to like make it so we don't have to do that forever. You know, it's just goals change, and but yeah, it hurts. It hurts a lot to not be there for some certain things. But like I've been kind of able to swing things where it's, you know, I haven't been able to, you know, I have been able to do these things that, like, I was there with my daughter for like 6 months when she was born, and like,
wow,
I flexed, man. You know what I mean? Like it, yeah. So
that's amazing. Yeah.
It's yeah, that's what I'm saying. So like, I feel lucky in that fact too. So it's never really felt like too much of a detriment to me to like work a day job, and I've been at my job for like 11 years, and like I've, you know, it's just like it's just so second nature now to just go in, do it. And like I said, I love cooking, so I don't hate going to work. I mean, I hate waking up, but I hate going to work. You know what I mean? Like, once I'm there, I'm like, all right, cool. Like, whatever.
So to the creatives listening that are struggling with that concept, get a fucking job.
Get a job,
Just get a job. And
even if
put
it's
the
like
work in.
an illegal job, like just have money in your pocket, man. That's the one thing, because don't let that shit stress you out to the point where you.
Well, it starts to hurt the work. It starts to hurt the whole
Of course,
reason
because
you're doing
then
it in the first place.
you're rushing, you're trying to get shit. Yeah, just
Right, right.
get a job, man, and then, from your two uncles here, get a job.
Speaking of, so I just was reminded of this time. So, because you were talking about like performing for crickets and stuff too. Like during that time when I was refusing to get a job and I'm trying to do all kinds of stuff, I had the hoopla tournament that we were doing every year, which was pretty successful. And I had my studio, my store, and we are trying to make all that stuff work. And so for hoopla, every year I did like a jump off party the night before. And so the year prior, I had terminology, acrobatic, Ashleen Pear Tree, and it would like crush it. Like we filled the whole spot. It was amazing. Like sold the place out. The following year, I booked Still Gold.
Yeah.
And crickets. Like
Yeah.
no one, fucking no one came.
Done.
And I felt so embarrassed and so bad, and I'm just cringing the whole time. And what's so funny is like, so my dad had happened to come, right? And so my dad's sitting there watching Still Gold, and no one's there, and he's just like, he's in his 70s now, raised in Korea, like just kind of conservative in terms of his age, and so he's like listening to this, and I'm just like watching his face turn, and this is just getting even worse, and I just felt so bad that I brought you guys out here thinking that it was going to be a good reception for you, and just like no one came. I felt so responsible. And then and I'm sleeping in the studio at this point. I'm like, shit is not good. And so I needed that to be good.
Yeah.
Even financially. And I'd told Ark I would pay you guys to come, and ended up writing him a check for like $100. And I'm just like, this is insulting. I'm like, this is all I can give you. But hold on. So a few weeks go by, and like, every day I would wake up and I would have like, my bank account would be like single or double digits, very, very little money, and like very little to try to get through the day. And one day I knew I had, I don't know, $50-$60 or something. I think I went to get lunch or something, and it gets declined, and I'm like, shit, I knew I at least had enough for this. So I go and I check my account, and I'm overdrawn. Because like Ark had cashed that check.
Ark, you owe him like $5,
No.
$12 overdraft fee.
Not at all, but it was because that's how broke it was. That's how kind of crazy it was. It's like and honestly, realistically, I knew I couldn't even afford to pay the $100 that I did, but I had to give you guys something. But it was just so funny as I look back on those times and how many problems I created myself. Realistically, that wasn't Ark's fault. It was just, I just found it to be funny because had he cashed it that the next day, you know what I mean? Money was there, you know what I mean? But it was like a few weeks later, and I'm like, oh shit, I didn't even see this coming.
Damn, Ark,
I completely forgot about that,
bro.
But
see the way his bank account works.
You're right. Things are a little better now, thankfully.
Good.
But
got there.
we need those times to teach us lessons, Yeah.
Man, we've been there. We've performed in front of 20,000 people. We've performed in front of your pops. So, you know what I mean?
Yeah. How do you how do you work through that? How do you reconcile that with your ego?
You get humbled real quick when you're trying to be a hip hop group. you really want to do it. It's like it's weird and it's strange when you. I think for us it was always kind of like we knew we could be doing more, but like we weren't, and it was just kind of like it was a frustration for a long time. You know what I mean? Like when it was like why not us? But
part of what I'm curious about is how, especially for. So because your role isn't a casual one. Like that takes push. Like how do you do that when there's no one out there? Because I will say I've seen shows where you guys, were rocking a sold out show, and I've seen shows where Like,
yeah, you've been
it
there.
was
You've
only
been there
a few people.
feasting and famine, bro.
Yeah, well, right, and it's just, it happens to everyone,
course.
every single band. But I have not really seen a difference in the way you guys put the show on. And so I guess how do you work through that to really to be that band that performs the same for 5 or 500?
I think maybe it kind of goes back into the like we just do it to
You have
make
to love
music. Yeah, like I remember watching. I watched this a long time ago. I watched this documentary about this band Fugazi, and it's called Instrument, and there's a scene in it where the band is just a stage shot, and the band is like going crazy. Like one of the singers, Guy, is on this. He's literally in a basketball hoop, like hanging upside down. Like it's just chaos. It looks like they're in like a gymnasium, and it's just wild. And then the screen like pans out, and there's like 7 dudes standing there, and they're playing at this prison. And there's like 7 inmates watching them, and they're playing like they're in front of like thousands of people.
Yep.
And I remember that really touched me, where it was just like, bro, you just got to go hard every time. Like you got to go hard every time. And like I do it because I feel it. Like I feel it in the music. I feel it in me, you know. So that's just the way it comes out. But yeah, that's I remember that scene, and it always kind of like stuck with me that, you know, it doesn't, like, why are you doing it if it's not for just to do it, you know?
Right.
And yeah, that's one of the reasons why. And like you said earlier, like to humble yourself, to have those moments where it's like, but it's when you have the ebbs and flows, which is the most, even more crazy. Like I remember one night we got asked to be on Static Selector's show on Shade 45 in New York, and it was like a Wednesday night, and I was like, yo, I gotta work, man, on Thursday, dude. I can't be on the Static Selector show.
Right.
And it's like, at that point, that was huge for us. So I was like, fuck, all right, let's go. And I remember we drove up. I was like, but we can't leave until I like get out of work. I'll leave early, whatever. I remember we left early. So we just got up there in time to get on the show. We do the show. And it's like crazy. You're on Stat Show. You're in Shade 45. There's all these people there. Like,
Yep.
You know what I mean? We met mad people that night. And we leave. And we're like, all right, we got to go back to Boston. You know? And I remember driving back to Boston and going to my job early and like sleeping in one of the banquettes at the restaurant for like 2 hours and then going to work, you know, and then it'll be like, or you'll have a show, you play a show with the Roots, and there's like, you know, thousands of people. Then you play a show at your hometown turf, and next week, and there's 7 people there. You know what I mean?
Right.
You know, Boston's a finicky place with shows too. You know, like I've seen Legends with like 5 people in the crowd.
Right.
Like, we played with Slum Village, and like it was embarrassing to turn out. Like it's just. So at that point we were like, well, I guess it's not us. You know what I mean? If Slum Village is even pulling numbers like that too, it's
Sure.
just
Sure.
that's Boston sometimes. But yeah, that humbleness is like we needed that. A lot of people need that. Some people don't ever get that, and it shows. You know. But yeah, that was always like there's highs and lows, you know, and there's.
I mean, you guys have accomplished so much now at this point, though. I mean, and having gotten to watch so much of it, because I mean, I remember before So Gold, I think I'd actually met, with the exception of John and Tim, I had met all of you guys before So Gold was even a thing.
Yeah.
And because I knew Chris just from like being in the like Seacoast area, and some of the other guys, and had met Mo independently, had met Ark through Ashley and Pear Tree. Not sure if you know her, but
I did.
She had brought me to his studio once, like super long time ago, and it was just crazy to see this kind of form, and then it just became its own thing. And is there a moment? Well, what I was going to talk about. So, how do you go? Do you think, like, what was the turning point that actually when things really changed. Because I mean, at this point, you guys have your own festival in the city. You know, so I mean, and that festival, I haven't been able to make it yet, but that festival looks like it's not just a few people out there. Like this is this. It looks like it's huge and growing.
Yeah, I think the term. I don't know, man, because we've always just kind of.
Because you aren't doing shows for 7 people anymore.
No.
Right.
Thankfully.
Yeah.
But we still will. Just book us. You know,
Sure.
just we'll see.
Like
We'll
to the artist right now who's doing shows for 7 people, or maybe does that same thing, actually goes other places and has good experience and good shows and receptions in other places, but is kind of stuck in that medium place where they come back home and they either don't get booked or they're doing it for 5 people, you know, and they're just ready to say fuck it.
I think the thing that always kind of helped us was that we always put other people on, like always. We always tried to help other people, and like, you know, like whether it be like having someone come up and just do one of their songs in the middle of our set, or you know, we always but we love collaborating, and I think that was a big part of, you know, building this community of people and musicians, and kind of like, you know, and it's in like a cool kind of weird incestuous way where everyone kind of works with everybody, and I think that's important. Building that type of community is super important. I think that turned into a lot of opportunities for us. I think so. Just us being open to working with other people turned into a lot of opportunities for us, you know, to take advantage of outside of the band. And I think that's where a lot of the collabs that we've done have come in. I mean, we work real closely with a lot of institutions in Boston, the Museum of Fine Arts, the Museum of Science.
I've always wondered how those collaborations came to be.
I mean, honestly, we just asked. Excuse me. Yeah, we just asked. It was like Mo had this idea.
So much of it is about just asking. Right?
It really is, man. Just take that. What's the worst thing that's gonna happen? And we've got a lot of no's, trust me. But we got the yeses are the ones that mattered, you know, and they were the big ones. And then now we still have great relationships with people in all these institutions. And Mo is always kind of a proponent of being like, I want to put, you know, people of different color faces in these buildings, you know, you know, and like, because the MFA seems very, you know, unattainable to a kid from, you know,
right, yeah,
Orchard Park, you know,
just even going
like
in there,
that.
right,
Exactly. So
doesn't feel like it's for him.
And I think that was really important because I think Mo felt that growing up, because Mo's an amazing artist too. People don't know, but
yeah,
I know you know, but
yeah. We
so-
should do more of it.
So it, I think it was just wanting to do something more than with music. I think that was really big for us, like doing these social things and like donating money, you know, to things. And I think just being a good human being and just being part of the cause was big for us, you know. And
so you think it's more about contributing?
I think so. I think
Right.
because you get back what you put in, you know. Don't expect it, but you know, sometimes it trickles back in, you know. And
But it can't trickle back in if you're not contributing. You've got to contribute.
So like, and like we do things for not really for us all the time, you know. And I think that's important. I think people see that and they're like, oh well, maybe we should work in the future, you know. And it just all these relationships manifested, but honestly, they all manifested through just asking. And then once you have one under your belt, you're like, okay, like, because we were one of the first, if not the first, hip hop group to play in the MFA.
I don't know of any others.
Now is a whole bunch. Now,
Yeah, okay.
You know what I mean? But like, there was just a lot of things that happened that we were like, okay, well that worked. Well, let's hit up the Museum of Science, see if we can do a show in the planetarium. And then that worked. And then it was like, and then so you just start going and going. And then you find out about grants in the city, which if you're an artist or anything, find out about the grants in where you're from. Because
right.
there's probably a ton of money that people...
There are things to support you.
Now.
Yeah.
Now
my biggest, I mean, it it changed a lot for me too. It ended up being a grant funded thing,
dude.
and yeah,
take advantage of that, you know, and then with that we went to other institutions, and then just went poof, 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 kept going up and up, and then now we're doing, you know, we're producing, you know, shows with the city of Boston and the mayor's office, the Arts Council, and so it's just it's they all manifested really naturally just off of an ask. It's like you build a resume, kind of, right?
Well, right. But you're putting in the work, and you're keeping, and
like
you're moving forward, and
right.
you're right.
And then,
right.
well, I think the thing that we, and this was one of the ones that we missed, but during the pandemic, we were right before the pandemic, we were planning a whole, I mean, Mo, then this was him asking, got a whole program to perform at the symphony orchestra, and the BSO was,
I remember that.
Right, so the BSO was learning a bunch of our songs. We were also going to have a bunch of Boston artists come up and do a couple of their joints, and then the pandemic happened. We were doing a lot right before the pandemic happened. The pandemic wasn't awesome.
Now that you mentioned that,
we were also curating a Basquiat, the Basquiat show, the opening party for the MFA. Like, we had a lot going on.
Wow,
MFA has been really dope to us. But yeah, and it's like you just opportunities slip away. And
do you have a favorite moment so far
of the band?
Yeah.
Shit.
Like something you guys did that you're like most.
I mean,
proud of?
yeah. I mean, the festival is definitely one of them because there's so much work.
That looks amazing.
Big up to everyone in the band, dude, because they just go so hard. Like,
I mean, what an accomplishment, honestly.
It's hard. I mean, you learn a lot. You learn a lot about like porta potty permits and all types of wild shit.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, that's wild. That one is like, that one was pretty cool. Like, you know, and last year we had Ghostface, so it's like, it was pretty dope. I remember at the end of the night when Ghost was doing his last couple songs, I kind of went in the back with my wife, and I just kind of like looked over the crowd, and it was like a really cool, and to be literally in the middle of downtown Boston is like, it's very surreal, man, because you think about all the times I've been here in my life and seen shows, because they used to do shows in City Hall Plaza, hip hop shows. I've seen, you know, De La Soul, Slick Rick, you know, and that was the catalyst of doing that again, because they stopped doing it, so we were like, man, that was a big part of my youth, going to these shows, and you know, it was dope. And yeah, and I think doing them with the city now, and just you see these things, and you just, yeah, man, that was one of the real proud moments. And that was the first time my daughter ever saw me perform.
That's pretty awesome.
And that was pretty wild, and that's a trip, man. And
speaking of being a father, man, that didn't come easy to you either, did it?
Bro, I never thought it would be a thing in my life.
Yeah.
Straight up, I really didn't think I'd be alive at this point in my life. And
really?
I was on the trajectory of it. Oh yeah, man.
So
life was
on
wild.
that note, like, I mean, if you look back to a time when you felt that way, like what, not that you necessarily actively, knowingly took the steps, but what steps happened that started to change things?
Honestly, the biggest turn in my life was meeting my wife.
Wow. Okay, so this is long after Hawaii.
Oh, bro, I didn't fully get sense in my life until my wife. Now, mind you, even after Hawaii, I was healed, bro, but I was wild as fuck.
Yeah.
Like, I was wild, man. Like,
Wilder?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Dude, yeah, man. I was a problem, dude. Like, I was a problem, and it was starting to be a problem with the band.
Really? Okay, I didn't know that.
Oh, bro, I was getting like blackout and like rocking shows and just like not even remember doing the set.
Wow.
And like, yeah, man, like I was wild, dude. It was crazy. I mean, we're all a little bit wilder then, but I was on my way. And then it started getting to be like not cute anymore.
Do you think you saw that as your role?
Dog. It's funny you say that. Talked to my therapist about this not that long ago. Yeah, man. That's when you walk in the room, everyone just expects that. If you're that dude,
well, you're the dude screaming on the mic.
Yeah, and like you're a good time and you're fun and you're, you know, man, I like chatting with people. You know what I mean? I'm a social cat. Like, you know, so yeah. I mean, yeah, I had to play that role for a long time. I was the dude in the group that was just wild, like jumping off speakers and shit, and like, you know. And yeah, and then a lot of that was just straight alcohol fueled, and just like,
Yeah.
you know. And then, but yeah, the biggest turning point in my life was meeting my wife, because like, dude, I was in my 30s, man, and it's just like, I was a mess, dude.
How
Like,
long you guys been together?
you know what I mean? It's 5-6 years.
Okay.
And it's just one of those times in life where it was like, if I don't get my shit together, and I realized what I had like kind of early on, because my wife's amazing, and I was like, dude, if I fuck this up, like, this is like you don't get these chances very often, man. And I was tired too. I was tired, man. I was just tired.
Man, there's so much we can relate on. Yeah.
I was tired being that dude. I was tired of just being drunk. Just tired of just being a mess. Tired of people seeing me a certain way. Because you see it after a while. It's not funny. People start to like look at you, like kind of pity you a little bit. And it's
Yeah,
like,
or just not take it seriously.
I couldn't be that dude, man. Because like, yeah, like if you don't, yeah, exactly. Like people weren't you feel like people don't take you seriously and all this, and I just couldn't do it anymore, man. And I was done, and I was over it. And I remember the night that it happened, I went, at the time my wife was bartending for her second gig, and I went and saw her, and I just got like mashed up, and just I ended up going to another bar, lost my phone, lost my fucking wallet. Like, dude, I was like blackout city, like population zero. Like it was and having to explain that to her was like so embarrassing to me, like the next day. And I was just like,
Yeah.
dog, what do you, and I could tell she was like she was sweet. She like came with me to look for him and stuff, but it was just like,
Not impressed.
I could tell she was just like,
Yeah.
I don't know about all that. And it took me time, but I started to realize that, it's just not, it's not worth it. And they tell you got to be like ready to like stop doing all that shit, and you really do, man.
Sure.
Me more than probably most, because I just had to get exhausted of it. I had to just like, my body, I was in horrible shape. I was just like, yeah, there was no self-care. It was just, my wife always says it. She's like, you were in fight or flight, your whole life pretty much. So she's like, it's not a surprise, it's just, and that was it. So, my wife was definitely the change that.
I think sometimes we will refuse, whether or not it's ego or machismo or whatever you want to call it, but we'll like refuse to admit that it could be because of things in our past or things that we were in a kid that are the reason that we're like still doing stupid shit as an adult.
Yeah.
Acting out or looking for the attention or needing the attention or having that struggle with ego.
That always goes back to that.
Right. I feel like so many things do. That's actually part of the reason that I wanted to create this podcast, is to kind of explore some of those things. 'Cause, I mean, the older that I get, I'll be 45 this year. The older that I get, the more that I realize that I'm still that fucking kid. And I can't escape it. As much as I've tried to escape it, like I'm still that fucking kid. And having a son now has, I mean, more than having a daughter, I must say, and like has really made me face more things than I realized I had left to face. Right? Being a parent is not easy, man. It's really, really hard.
No, it's definitely the most challenging thing I've ever done.
Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah, but it has all those rewards that everyone talks
course.
about. It has all those things. Those are definitely there. But the things that we'll bring back, and the things that like the first time you bring it to like actual kindergarten, and you like walk into the school as a parent for the first time,
it's wild.
it's such a trip, and you start to. It brought back so many memories for me, raising my kids. That I mean, things I had completely forgotten about.
Right.
So you never thought you'd be a father? You never imagined yourself being a dad? No,
bro. I was so wild, dude. Like I couldn't.
So it was just
I was
never
barely
even
taking care of myself, man. And then when I got, I stopped. The biggest thing I've ever done for myself is stop drinking. I stopped drinking, and like everything changed in my life.
How long has it been?
Like quickly. like 5 or 6 years.
Really?
As long
Wow.
as me and my wife
Wow.
been together.
Yo, congrats, man.
Thank you, man.
Yeah. Yeah.
I've luckily always been one of those people that just kind of like, I'm like, dude, I either got to stop or I'm going to be like this forever. And forever is going to be a short time, you know? So yeah, I've luckily, I never really had the bug. It was always, drinking for me was always like, I just had no shut off. You know, I never had the bug where I needed to drink, you know, luckily, you know, but yeah, stop.
It was just like, why not? It wasn't like you needed to.
It was like,
just
I'm out, I'm doing it. It's like, yeah, but I'm also like Irish, and it's like I have that like blackout gene in me where it's like I'm just gonna drink until I can't drink anymore, you know, and you know, and I'm sure the dependency was there. Just it never really manifested into like something physical for me. It was always more like just being out and like
a large part of it being the social aspect.
Sure.
And just right. And then you just don't stop.
Yeah.
No, same. Because I mean, that would either draw me to the social thing, or vice versa. And then depending on the group of people I was around, and depending on the people I was around, I just
was the level of how much you were going to drink. Yeah,
right, and the level of crazy, unspeakable shit that I would do. That you know, that you don't even remember the next day. It's crazy.
But that's honestly the best thing I've ever done for myself. And I'm at the point now where like I can have a glass of wine with dinner or something like that, and it's like whatever. And like I feel really lucky that I'm at that point now.
You changed your relationship with it completely.
Yeah, man, and it's just but I had to like remove myself from the relationship for a long time before I got there, because it was just like I relied on it so much for so long, because I have anxiety like real bad, but like I front really well that I don't.
How do you deal with the anxiety?
I smoke weed. No, that's
totally okay now. No, that's totally okay now.
That was it for a very long time, but no, man. Now I mean, and another thing too, I feel really lucky about is the men that are in my life, my homies, that we're all very open in talking about mental health and things like that. And that was something I wasn't used to until I really, you know, the band, you know, everyone's very much into that, you know, like, because we're all older, and you know, it's the only way you're going to survive, man. So
I think a lot of us in our 40s now are becoming a lot more open to talk about it.
I think that we're kind of like the last generation that, like, I feel like that really got like looked upon like shamefully, like
for any of the for the whole toxic masculinity thing.
Absolutely.
Sure.
And I see it as the masculinity is one of those things too that like feeds a lot of that stuff with us, you know, just being a man. But like,
well, I feel like in hip hop culture and all those things,
so
right? It's become so complicated, right, to show emotion and to in this genre or in this, right? So it's. I feel like I notice a lot, and maybe it's just because of that's what I'm looking for. But I feel like there's so many more people, whether it's in the hip hop world or just in a place where you wouldn't necessarily expect to see it, that are opening up those conversations and talking about those things. I feel like your music is doing that too.
Thank you. Yeah. I'm just glad the stigma is going away, you know, well, anyway, so like I said, being able to talk to my friends about things and being able to just be open with emotions and all that all of that was big for me in helping to deal with all of that. I mean, therapy, all of that stuff.
Yeah.
And
how long did it take you to find a good therapist?
Man, too long. To even go to one took me way too long.
Sure.
To find one,
I feel like there's two problems there, because a lot of men aren't going to go to therapy in the first place, right? But then when they do, they meet someone that's a total asshole or something. Someone that they just do not click with,
right?
And they're like, see, this is why I'm not doing therapy. Fuck this, I'm not doing this.
Or they're just not ready either, too, right? Like I had my first therapist, I bullshitted them the whole time. Like, I didn't open up to them once. This was a long time ago. But I was like, I'm not telling you shit. Now, it's very different. But,
What was the difference there? Was it just age and learning? Learning to kind of drop the ego?
What's the point? Like, why are you going to, you know what I mean? Like, what's the point? So now it's like, yeah, I'll have these hard conversations, and I'll, and it all lightens the load, man. It's just
You found it helpful?
very, 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 because I never talked about anything. Like I told you at the beginning of the podcast, I'm a very private person. I don't really talk to anyone. Really,
Well, yeah, I guess. I mean, because I've known you a long time, and we've had many conversations.
Absolutely.
Some that I don't remember. Some you
Same.
might not remember.
Absolutely.
But because we definitely knew each other, I think, in that time
yeah.
frame too, of just crazy shit.
Uh-huh.
And so just both of us, I'm grateful we're both still here.
Facts, me too.
But yeah, I guess I had never even registered with me. But now that you say that, I can see that, because I mean, we would talk about things that would make us smile and laugh, and
Yeah.
the love and the energy and the music and all the creativity. But we never got deep. I've never heard you talk about anything.
Yeah.
So it's like, as long as I've known you, I knew nothing about you until today.
And that's all of it's very purposeful with everyone in my life. I always keep people, and that's why when you asked me to do this, I was like, absolutely, because
I really do appreciate it.
Oh man, nah, you've always just been like a really good human to us, to all of us, in many ways. So yeah, man, like that goes without saying. But for me to just talk about it now, I think I'm at a phase in my life where I feel like I do kind of know a little bit, like, believe me, I like you said, I'm still that lost kid, man. I'm still figuring life out every day. And if you think you have it figured out, you're fucking wrong, so
Right.
that's what keeps me humble too. I think that keeps me, always trying to be mindful and kind, and you start to see in life what it's important, and you try to emulate those things, I guess.
Sure. I mean, I've never seen you be an asshole to anybody ever.
No,
I've
but
always
I
seen
am
you
an
be
asshole.
I'm sure.
I can be.
Yeah, I've got it in me too, of course.
I've always, like I said, even in the times of my life where like I've had to shut off being kind and being these things, it was always in me. Like I thank my mom for that. My mom was a very, very loving and sympathetic person, and so I feel like I get a lot of those good qualities, from her. But yeah, I feel like later in life, man, when you start to realize that those things that they always wanted you to be are really the most important things. Like that's the only thing, the best thing I can instill in my child is just to be kind, and that's the important thing, man. I don't want to be mean to anybody, but.
So, I mean, that's awesome to hear that. I mean, obviously you still had a good chunk of time with your mom, and with your dad far too short. But I mean, you got to know them, and you remember them, and you have memories with them, and all of that. And I guess that's something to be grateful for, right?
Yeah. I mean, I all the things. I mean, I'm the person I am because of them. Like I definitely instilled those morals when I was a kid. And I just like I never saw. My parents weren't like that. Even though my dad was a cop, you think about it nowadays, but like my dad wasn't like that. He was never, he was a good dude, man.
So you were lucky. You were lucky to have good parents. It sounds like you had good relationships with them.
I did, man. I had good relationships with my parents. Yeah, they just ended far too soon, and I felt really like there was so much more for me to have to learn, and I had to learn all those things on my own.
Right.
And
Right.
Unfortunately, you don't have the person who has the time and the history and the wisdom to tell you that you just, I had to figure all these things out the hard way, so
right.
but honestly, everything had to happen that way for me to be here right now. So I don't really have regrets or anything like that.
Right, you can't change it anyway. Right?
And you talk about coincidence and things like that and fate, and it's like,
Yep.
yeah, man, we're all sitting right where we are because of all the choices that we've made, you know, and the fact, kids, family, all that now is just seems so far and out of reach for me.
Has your experience shaped the kind of father that you are or want to become?
Yeah. I've become way more patient. And I have a daughter, and my wife, like I told you today, is pregnant with another child, which we don't know yet.
Yeah,
So,
yeah. Are you gonna wait? Are you gonna be surprised?
No,
or are you
no,
gonna...
no. my
Yeah,
partner.
yeah,
Like,
yeah. You got to know. You got to
yeah,
prepare.
yeah, yeah. But yeah, I want her to just realize, like, especially as being a female, like, I just want her to know that, like, I'm listening, and like I'm, you know, and you know, I just want to. I don't want her to ever just have, because I mean I feel like a lot of women just have bad experiences with men off the rip just because their dad was a dick, you know. Like,
There will never be. Well, someone told me once when my oldest daughter was little, that her entire life she would compare every man she ever meets to me, and that just
That's
it,
heavy,
it
right?
hit me so hard
yeah,
that if for no other reason, I need to be an example of something
yeah,
good for this girl.
Yeah.
And I just always took that seriously, and whether that meant going after things that I believed in, or just, you know, because no matter how rough things got or whatever poor decisions I made, I guess I can look back and at least say that I feel like I made them for what I, at the times, at least a reason I can get behind, right? I mean, there was plenty of shit that happened with drugs and all that kind of stuff
yeah.
too that I'm not
I mean,
proud of.
It
But
sounds like we were both just in survival.
yeah,
Just
right.
in
Oh,
survival.
dude, yeah, survival mode,
You
like
know, and-
was for so long.
And the thing
Yeah.
is, with that comes like a lot of selfishness.
Oh, sure.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like, and that's another thing I learned about, you know, being a father and stuff too, man, is just, it's not you anymore. And that was
not about
it
you.
for so long. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Like
Yeah.
because all I had was me. So,
So how did you deal with that? Like, because that's something I've related with as well, where it's especially like, because especially when you're trying to do creative things, you're trying to do this thing that is you,
Right.
that you've held to be so important for so long, and now this is the thing. This is the most important thing.
It was a kind of an easy transition for me. I mean, and I'm lucky that Still Gold and the band and everything, we've kind of like done all the cool things, you know, and there's still plenty of cool things to come, but
Sure.
like I did a lot, like touring Europe and all these things, and touring, you know, that's just things that I look different now,
Sure.
you know.
Sure.
But my daughter easily just like that, she became first automatic. You
Yeah,
know,
yeah,
her and my wife obviously, but yeah, and
Well, you
and
just want to be with them, and you just
Yeah,
want to,
yeah.
The pull is strong. It's
and I'm really actually, I am glad that I kind of waited and had kids later on in life. Just for I mean, obviously so many reasons, but and I was listening to this dude on a podcast the other day, and he was talking about how, and he had kids later in life, and he was talking about how when you're younger, you're constantly worried about, like, he called it your resume traits, where, you know, what makes you special, what you know, what, and it's very ego driven, right? It's about you. But he said later on in life, when you have kids later on, you're in the phase of your eulogy traits. So, like, what do you want to be remembered by? What have you passed on to people? What, you know? And he said when you're in that phase in life and you have kids, it's much easier to connect and just have a more emotional, you know, contact with your kid, because you're not constantly worried about yourself as well. You know, you're just kind of, you can focus so much more energy and put these things and instill these things into your children, that later on in life, that's something you can be remembered by too, that, oh, you know, my pops taught me how to be empathetic, or, you know. So, and I thought that was really cool. I thought that was cool because I feel that, you know, I definitely feel that, where I'm at the point now in life that I feel like I can completely focus on being a really good father, and like, and she deserves all that.
Sure.
You know?
Well, that gives me a really good question. What do you want to be remembered for, or remembered by?
Man, it's funny, when I was a kid, when people would be like, oh, like, what do you want to be when you grew up? I was always like, thought I was like deep, and I was like, I just want to be happy. But like, that's real. Like, that's the realest thing I've probably ever said since I was a little kid, just trying to be deep. But like, And that's true, man. And it's just being happy was like so unattainable for me for so long that you know, I just
That's success.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah, and
Yeah.
that is success, man. I just want to be remembered as someone who, I don't know, I made the change. Like I beat the odds, I think. You know, and it wasn't easy. It was not easy, man. It took a lot of work and a lot of pain and a lot of, you know, reflection and all these things, you know.
I feel like I've asked this question in many different ways, but like, if there was like a moment that was like your Phoenix moment, what would that be?
That's a really good question. It was honestly, I think, the day I got married, I think.
Wow. Yeah.
Just because,
That's
man,
awesome.
that's just so, man, it was just so
Yeah.
like, dude, I'm such a family dude now. It's crazy, man, because A, I didn't really get that fully, and B, it was just like, I really did not think it was ever going to happen.
How does it feel like to have what you have now, having lost what you did, what was kind of taken from you as a kid, and you have this chance now with a beautiful family of your own? Like, how do you think that's affected your values as a father?
The reality that this is my reality now is so surreal, and just like, it's like bonus time, you know what I mean? Because it's like I just didn't think it was ever going to be the case, man. Like, I just didn't, you know, owning a house and having children and being financially stable and all these things, it wasn't for me. That's, and honestly, and I think a lot
I
of
can
that,
relate to all of that.
yeah, right. And
yeah.
I think a lot of that for me came from, like, I felt like I didn't deserve it.
Yeah, didn't feel like I was worthy of it.
Right.
Didn't even think it was possible.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
And it's just like, and it's funny. You ask anyone in my band who'd have thought I would be here now, you know, they would laugh hysterically at you. They'd be like, "Yeah, nah, not Chris."
Yeah.
You know, but honestly, they're the reason. A lot of them are the reason, you know, why I pushed through a lot of the things I did. They helped me along the way. But yeah, I never thought I would have it. So it's just kind of these, why would I squander this chance when I have this, you know, this opportunity to just pour everything into it. And like I said, my life is at a place now where I can give all of it.
Do you ever still have moments where you go dark?
Bro, I don't think my wife says it all the time. She's like, you never feel safe anywhere you are, right? Nah. And she notices, my wife, she always tells me this. She's like, when you go into a restaurant, I mean, obviously I never sit with my back to the door, but like, she's like, you scan every room we go into. And I never noticed that until like recently. And she was like, you never noticed you do that? And I was like, no, it's just no. And she's like, yeah. She's like, and it took me a while to feel safe, man, like even in my own house.
Can
dude.
imagine.
Like, because it's just like, you think at any moment it could get taken away from you. Because that's what happened in life with me so many times, over and over again, you know?
Yep.
And it wasn't just like losing my parents. I lost like mad family members and mad friends. And, you know, losing your friends was even more crazy than family sometimes, because it's like I said, those are the people you choose,
Right,
you know?
right.
And yeah, so death was all around me, man. And to have these opportunities to just kind of like have life and have, you know.
Well, I feel like you're such a good example of, and I kind of hate the word success, or at least in some contexts, I get tired of it. I feel like it gets overused, because to me, it's like, my life will be a success when I'm dead. Like,
Right.
Like, but that's not to take anything away from getting to a point. So to me, like, success, that's kind of the word I've used too, is just, if I'm happy, if I'm living a life that I'm proud of, that I'm happy with, especially if I'm so far beyond anything that even statistically should have been possible for me.
Yeah.
And I think that you're such a great example of success that's from an unlikely place, right? And like, there's so many people who come from not even the place, but they come from that feeling that we've both had, that they're not worthy of this, they aren't gonna ever have, they shouldn't have had this, that this isn't for them, or even like get brainwashed to the point that that you don't want these things because of all the things that come with them.
I self-sabotaged for
Right.
ever. Even when shit started to seem remotely light, I would just,
Yep.
it would all crash.
Yep.
You know?
I mean, so, and we're going to kind of wind down because I want to be respectful of time, but like, if there was like some kind of piece of advice that you could give that you had to learn the hard way, that you could just give someone for free.
Yeah. Get over yourself. You know?
Just simply get over yourself.
I think that's, I mean, on a basic level, I think that's part of it. But to me, I guess the best advice I said, just don't, even when, you know, like, it gets dark and when these things, you know, it seems corny, but like, I find it to be quite true that it's never going to stay that way. You know, you can make a difference in your life by simply realizing the issue, you know, just being aware of of what's going on in your life and in your heart. It's just know that whatever it is that you can change it. I mean, there's a feeling that you get of pride and just like, I don't know, it's the feelings that I have now that now that I've gotten over all of these hardships in my life, man, I can look back on it, is just the fact that I never gave up. And there's so many times I almost did and just was at the bottom, like very bottom, you know, and then the reason I stayed at the bottom for so long is because a lot of it I couldn't get over myself.
Sure.
So, you know, yeah, I think those two things, man, just try to get over the ego part. That's honestly the most difficult thing. And then, yeah, just really just having faith in yourself no matter what. I was hanging on by a string, you know.
So when you were hanging on by a string, it's like, so for that person who's at the complete bottom, like ready to just like give up, whatever that means for them, like what's the first thing that they can do to start to get through that?
Man, I feel like when you're at that point, there's really like, there's not much, you're just so desperate and you're just so like looking for anything.
I think sometimes, man, it's just go to sleep.
Honestly, take care of yourself. Like,
the reason I say that is because it's just, you need to wake up the next day.
You got to reset. Yeah. And realize that it does continue. Right. Like it does go on and it does, you know, and it gets better. It's wild when you think about it and you're like, what am I going to tell my kids? And me and my wife were talking about the other night, and it's just like, I want to instill in her that like the things that seem so big at the time are so minuscule in the,
that's like an unteachable lesson, though, huh?
Yeah, it's one of those things you got to kind of learn yourself.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, because everyone hears it, and you're like, whatever, mom and dad, you don't know shit. But then you get to that point, and you're like, yeah, that thing in high school was really, really insignificant in my life, you know?
Right.
So I think that's something that I think people in that situation need to know, that it's just like,
get over yourself. But check the ego.
Yeah, the ego death is big, man, and if you feel like you have nowhere to turn, man, it's like, and that's the thing. I never like, people try to talk about, you know, you turn to God and you do all these things, but it's like, man, as long as you're right with yourself, that's all that matters. And if you're hanging on to just a thread, I mean, man, honestly, I feel like those are the times where some of the brightest spots can come from, you know, like.
You just hit it. Like that's the crazy thing, is what we never know when we're in those super low moments is what's just on the other side of that. Like, sometimes life has to take you to that edge.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Before you're going to get there. Some of the best things that have ever happened in my life happened after the worst, what I thought was the worst things.
Yeah.
That was happening in my life.
Same. And
just,
you know,
waking up the next day, man.
And being able to get out of bed.
Sure.
And that's you. That's you. That's what you did. That's your work. You know what I mean? Like, waking up is the good part, but being able to get your ass out of bed is the thing you should be
Sure.
proud of.
The push.
That's
right.
that's what I think the drive, and that's what's gonna really, because you can wake up and be miserable, or you can wake up and choose to, you know what I mean, like,
Yeah.
you know, and now, disclaimer, all of this shit is way easier said than done, you know what I mean, but it's just like, I feel like anyone, if I can do it, kids, you know what I mean? But
Well,
really,
but that's the thing is, like, you're not just saying that, you've been there.
I mean,
and
that.
that's crazy. Is sometimes the best advice is the simplest advice, just the simplest shit.
And then some of the best advice my dad ever gave me was just don't be a dumbass. You know what I mean? Like, simple lesson in life, but you know, it kind of transcends a lot of things, you know.
Yeah.
And yeah, so yeah, man, I just feel like anyone who's in a place of just desperation and man, look to yourself. Look to yourself first before you start looking at outside sources.
Right.
There's a lot you can learn from yourself if you just, you know, are still and quiet and kind of listen.
Mm-hmm.
Those still quiet moments for me are the ones where I've had like probably my biggest, you know, revelations in life. That and hallucinogens, but you know, a lot. But that's another story.
Yeah, that's a whole.
That's a whole nother episode.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I feel like the internally there's, you know, because you're the one, you ask yourself the questions, you know, which probably means that you have some sort of inkling of an answer, at least what's right with you, you know. So yeah, man, just self-reflection I think is huge. And a lot of that, you know,
and without judging yourself too hard too.
No, yeah, of course.
I mean, because you're going to in those moments, and that's sometimes where you can start to spiral.
That's the ego work too.
Right,
you know, that's
right.
If you
being kind to yourself is a big one. Yeah,
dog, I'm still learning that.
Yeah, me too.
I'm still learning that.
That negative self-talk just takes over sometimes.
Yeah, man, and you know, it's a beautiful thing. And I'm really glad that we're both at a point, man, that.
Well, you realize you can answer the self-talk too. You can talk back to it.
This is what I'm saying. You can find these answers in yourself as long as you just sit and you're quiet enough and you remove the static. You know, it's wild. It's the things that you can come up with on your own. You know.
Absolutely.
You know, and outside, I mean, obviously, you know, I read a lot. I listen to a lot of podcasts and stuff, and yeah, man, it's just you gotta be able to talk to yourself. You gotta be able to have the hard conversations.
Any books you'd recommend?
Yo, man, yeah, the book that kind of like changed my like kind of like gave me the like wow is this book called Rule of the Bone by Russell Banks.
Rule of the Bone.
Yeah,
okay.
It's a coming of age story. It's very much kind of a modern day take on Catcher in the Rye. But it's really great. It was a really good. For me, that book was like right when I went to Hawaii, and the book is like in the book the stories are very parallel, and so that was a big one for me. Who else? What other books do I really love, man? I honestly, when I was a kid, I just absorbed knowledge at like a ridiculous rate because I spent a lot of my life in the library as well as the hospital because my mom was always researching stuff. So I was just in the library, just gaining knowledge, man. But yeah, I think another great book, which I took snippets of and I keep some of them close to me is The Art of Happiness by the Dalai Lama. Had some gems in it.
Okay.
You know, I listen to a lot of people. Right now I'm really on a big kick of just like God in general, just kind of like learning stuff like that, and there's a lot of great stuff out there. You know, that like, because I'm not a religious person, I've never been, I'm actually quite anti you know, not religious, yeah, I guess I'm anti like
anti-dogma.
You know, yeah. But you know, but now that I'm older, and you see, because I've always believed in something higher, something bigger, something more. But now I listen to people. Rainn Wilson really has a really good podcast about it, and like, it kind of borders the line with a little bit of like Bible-y stuff, but like the other stuff I really, really like. It's just kind of like shaping your perspective of God and what that means. So I'm kind of real deep now, man. I just stay at home and listen to jazz and figure out life.
Yeah, no. I feel like that's so important, and it takes us a long time to get there. But I feel like all those crazy experiences and crazy times set us up for that, and they give us, if nothing else, fun things to reflect on.
Absolutely.
You know, and just knowing that we've done some of these things. Sometimes we can be embarrassed about them, or just kind of laugh at our past selves.
We should be embarrassed
Sometimes,
about them.
but sometimes just laugh at our past selves and just
Unfortunately for me, a lot of those are caught on camera.
yeah. They're that late, huh? They're that late, yeah.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
Oh, man.
Like I said, Blackout City on the stage.
Yeah, right.
It was good fun for everyone else, I'm sure.
Sure.
Maybe not Mo, but
It's part of the lore. It's part of the lore.
It is.
That's awesome, man. Yo, thank you so much for doing
man.
this. And
Anytime, dude.
Congratulations on everything.
Yeah.
Congratulations on building a life that you're proud of.
Yeah,
and
man.
being the
Thank
architect of your life, and
Thank you,
and
brother.
for being a great dad, man. And
Man, you as
just
well too,
everything.
man. I feel like we both you
I
know,
feel so fortunate, man.
Yeah.
Like, I don't like to use the word luck, right? But like, good fortune is something that I feel like you earn in a sense, or that you have to deserve it. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's kind of how I remind myself that I do. Yeah, because sometimes I do have to still remind myself that I deserve
do
this
every day.
Yeah.
Every day.
It's
But it's good. Those
it's a
affirmations
struggle.
the affirmations are good though.
Yeah.
They're good.
But yo, last thing, because I feel like it's very important to me that anybody who might happen to view any of these episodes or listen to them can walk away with something that's actually useful and tangible and that can help them. And I think we've given them that. But one tradition that I'm doing is, so every guest leaves a life principle or a reminder or something in the architect's journal here. And so I'm gonna, that's essentially, it's not a question, but it's the kind of last talking point before we wrap up. I just want you to kind of take what this person wrote and just kind of expand on it, or give your take.
Cool.
And so what this person wrote is, questioning if you are a good person further solidifies that you are indeed good.
I agree. I mean, yeah, that's.
Do you have any twist on that? Any different take? Anything you could add to that?
Can you read it one more time?
Questioning if you are a good person further solidifies that you are indeed good. And I feel like that's my take, is that's a reminder that some of us forget. A lot of us forget that, and we'll question ourselves all the time. And especially like as I've dealt with or worked through my own mental health struggles, it's sometimes been really hard to convince myself that I'm a good person.
I've done so many non-good things in my life that I think back and it's just being a good person is different to everybody, I guess.
I
You know
totally
what I
agree.
mean? Like,
Totally agree.
But I mean, I think what they said, yes, because if you have the essence of knowing that you should be a good person, just recognizing that in the first part, you know, it makes you a good person. It makes you able to be a good person.
I think the fact that you care enough
The fact that you're even aware of it
is a start.
yeah.
It's at least a start.
But I mean,
Yeah.
right? Like, because it's the denial of everything that just kind of like, that's what shields you from reality, you know. So denying it is, you know, it's that wall you put up. So I mean, yeah, being a good person to me is just, and I spoke about it earlier. It's just being kind, just being, you know. So yeah, I do agree with that. I do agree with, you know, being that person is. Let me say it. Being that person and living like that person is very difficult. You can be good.
Being that person and living like that person are very different. Yeah, and you said very difficult.
Yeah, they are. Because, I mean, sure, it's easy to say you're a good person, but to actually go out and do things you deem good is, that's the hard part.
I guess it's also easy to think, okay, I'm asking myself if I'm a good person, so that means I'm a good person. So I can also let you justify bullshit.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, yeah.
Right? If we pick it apart, I'm not like
Sure.
just to.
But it's true though.
Right.
I mean, yeah, and I think, I think, you know, the concept of a good person, man, is
You
just,
still have to practice what you preach.
yeah, but I mean, good is just like what makes you bad, you know? Like I don't know. That's a whole deeper conversation, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But like, I feel like the concept of being good is kind of innate to most people, and it's just the matter of doing it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I mean, I'm sure serial killers know they probably shouldn't be doing it. You know,
Right. Well, yeah, but they've convinced themselves.
sure.
in
So,
some way.
but I think
Right,
having
right.
the ability to empathize with yourself and kind of, yeah, I think just. Sorry, the serial killer comments is throwing me off. But that's how I feel, right? Like I think that, like, if you're deep down, I don't know. I just feel like being a good person is dependent on actions. I feel.
Sure.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
Like I just feel like I mean, you know, I don't believe anyone's truly good. I don't believe anyone, I mean, is truly bad. And I think they're just such broad.
It's all in there, right? It's all in
Yeah, it's
there.
just all such broad concepts, you know, and it's just, but, you know, innately, I think I want to believe that they're good, you know.
Sure.
I get disproved every day by it, but, you know, I want to deeply, you know, because I didn't care for a long time. I didn't give a fuck. I didn't give a fuck about anybody. I didn't care about anyone but myself. So now.
Do you think you were a good person?
No. Yeah.
No, you were.
No,
Yeah.
and yeah. You know what I mean?
All right,
Like,
yeah.
I struggled. I fought with myself a lot because I was doing these things that weren't things that I deemed good but necessary.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Am I a good person for wanting to survive? I don't know. You know what I mean? Like, by trying to make myself good by doing bad things. I mean, I don't know. You know, like,
Right. I feel like there's a lot more under the surface of that kind
Yeah.
of statement, right?
Yeah.
That's what makes it interesting.
Yeah.
Right? Is because you can be a good person who's doing bad things for good reasons, right? And I feel like that's the reason so many bad things happen now. But actions do like put a major spin on it though, because that's something to reconcile within yourself, you know. But only we know ourselves truly. So like, that's something to really ponder, actually.
Yeah.
Because it's not necessarily just. Now that I think this through, I guess, because I've heard this before when talking about narcissism, where it's like the person who's a narcissist isn't worried about if they're a narcissist, but they can use it as a cop out too.
Sure. Sure. Yeah.
You know, it's real easy to just like, oh well, you know, to give yourself too much leeway because you're actually concerned about it. So you can use that as an excuse for yourself to justify shit you shouldn't do.
Absolutely.
Right.
Yeah.
So I think the fact that you can look back at your previous self or previous actions and reconcile that is big.
Yeah.
You
It's
know?
the biggest thing.
Right.
I mean,
Right.
to be able to forgive yourself is.
That's a really hard thing for a lot of people. It's hard. It's hard.
Yeah. People don't love themselves fully, you know.
Right.
I think that's the problem.
Well, Chris, so what's as we wrap up, what's next for Still Gold? What's next for Christopher Talken?
Christopher Talken is having a child in August.
August.
So I will be housebound for quite a while.
Yeah.
Still go, man. We don't stop.
Mm-hmm.
We already got next album's already in the works. We always got stuff cooking, always. Yeah, just look out. We're gonna be doing more events, a lot more events. We've gotten pretty good at doing those, so we enjoy that. A lot of activations, hopefully throughout the city, and yeah, man. Who knows? Maybe we're gonna get signed to a major label and tour the world and have a jet. And nah, I'd be happy just being at home.
I just love that you guys are always finding new ways to do things. and always doing things, seemingly finding ways to do this differently.
Yeah.
You know?
I think that's a good way for life. Just do it a little differently.
Right.
Just ask.
Right. Just ask.
Bet.
That's a major one I hope people take is just ask. But there's so much, man.
Yeah, get your foot in the door.
Yeah.
And then, you know, once you're in the room.
Well, Chris, dude, you're an amazing father.
Yo,
you're an amazing
back
artist.
at you,
You're
brother.
just an incredible guy, man.
Thank you.
So glad you did this for me.
Appreciate you, brother.
Word.
Oh, man.
Hey, what's up? Just one sec. This podcast is produced by myself, edited by Jens Reyes, and theme music is produced by The Archetype. If you like this episode, please subscribe and share and leave us a rating. This helps us more than I can even express and allows us to provide more value. Thank you very much. Peace, peace.